So here's a short story which backs up why, if you're going to get married, guys, you must do your homework on your girl. You need to be with her for a number of years to really see who she really is as best possible, and also do some digging. Because unfortunately, given the world we're in right now, where all the temptations of social media and displaying oneself on social media, as well as many other things, you have to be careful, because you never know what could be the skeletons in her closet, if you will. And this one here, when this guy finds out, holy crap, we got a whole cemetery of skeletons in her closet. But fortunately, our guy handles it like a boss. Title: Am I the a-hole for pursuing divorce after learning my wife was a SEX worker before we met? And that's my point about doing your homework. And a shout out to Isaac for sending me the short story. He says here, I, a 30-year-old male, have been married to my wife Emily, a 28-year-old female, for 1 year, together for 3 years. You married her after only knowing her for 2 years? Smack! Way too short. Now notice they got married when he was 29, and she was 27. And therefore she met him when she was 25. At that point when a lot of girls want to get off the carousel for a little bit and find their nice guy husband. When I met Emily, she was an accountant running her own business. At 28? That's interesting. About 3 months in, she left that job to go into corporate finance, where she now works for a massive corporation. I've known Emily to be a kind and loving person, of solid character, so it was a real shock to me when a friend of mine reached out with evidence about her actual past. Let's read that again. Kind and loving, of solid character. Okay. So this friend of mine works with an organization that aids people who have been trafficked, missing people, helping people in dangerous situations such as adults and homeless and SEX workers. He has a law enforcement role but not local police, and is not an employee of that organization he works with. Anyway, the short of it is, while investigating something completely unrelated to my wife, he found old SEX worker ads, including SEX, I gotta spell it out, guys, because it's YouTube. SEX worker reviews where my wife's pictures were used. It was clearly my wife. Can you imagine being this guy? Like, you want to tell your buddy this, but you can only imagine his reaction, you know? He told me what he found, encouraged me to be calm and look deeper, and have been there offering me a shoulder ever since. Can you imagine this, guys? You're married, you think you got a great thing going. She's so nice, she's so wonderful, and you found out that this... Yeah, she neglected to mention this to the guy when they started dating. I looked, and my initial thought was that someone else stole and used my wife's pictures from before we ever met in these old ads. But as I looked deeper, I found a PG-13 video of her speaking in what was clearly SEX worker traffic advertising materials. PG-13, huh? We're about to go to XXX. I found worker forums where her pictures and SEX worker aliases were openly discussed by Johns. They use these forums to provide reviews to each other about SEX workers and to describe what they did with them. I found a video of her having SEX with people on adult sites by simply searching for her worker name. Holy shit. It's one thing to see advertisements, but then he found videos of her getting it on. And obviously the people talking about her and things they did with her. Talk about an a-hole. I could use other words, but I'm trimming it down here. She didn't tell this guy any of this. She completely neglected to mention this. You know why? Because she had a pretty darn good idea that this guy would never would have married her. My wife did a lot of amateur PORN, had SEX with Johns for money, and as far as I've been able to tell, so far has SEX with over 200 people for money, either in PORN or as a hooker. 200. That's what you got based on your minimal research. Lord knows that number is way higher. So I confronted my wife, and she denied everything. Can you imagine that? What are you talking about? How can you say that about me? You don't love me. Until I told her I saw her videos. She then told me a story about a friend of hers freshman year of college who was stripping to pay for school, who pulled her into it. Oh, okay, already. It's not my fault it is. My friend pulled me in. What was wrong working at TGI Fridays or some fucking restaurant as a waitress while you threw a legit job? paid for things. I know plenty of gals that worked at TGI Fridays or whatever bars or restaurants or whatever, and did it that way as opposed to, She was getting propositioned a lot while stripping. Well, no shit. Eventually she accepted someone's offer, and that became a regular thing. And led to her developing similar relationships with other men until she stopped stripping in favor of hooking, which led to her responding to an ad online and getting involved in PORN. She's telling him all this. He's like, uh-huh. And when were you going to tell me this? And you married me knowing all this? She then did the PORN from time to time when she was 19 until she was 24, which includes some raunchy stuff like group and G-bang videos. Then she did prostitution part-time before basically stopping in favor of doing cam shows online with some accounting work offline until I met her. Okay, well, she's going to school for she's in accounting class and sitting there and working on her debits and credits and things like that. Meanwhile, little does anybody know that what she really does to make money. She was doing some accounting work offline until I met her. She left that line of work when we got serious, and she got her corporate job. Gee, I wonder how she got the job, the high-level job in corporate finance at such a young age so quickly. The last time she had sex was with someone else on a cam show after we had started dating, but before we became exclusive. Yeah, sure. It turns out a friend of mine knew. He recognized her from her videos very early in our relationship, and he told her he would never say anything if she would get with him. Less than a month after she and I had met, she went to this friend's place and had sex with him, and then gave him oral before she left. This dude's friend found out and is telling him hooked up with her. What a fucking scumbag. And she, of course, didn't say anything. Needless to say, I've cut that friend out of my life. I hope so after you cold-cocked him. I moved out and have been staying with another friend and have filed for divorce. Amen. It's 1 year, man. Maybe you can get an annulment to make things a little easier. Some friends have told me that I'm an a-hole for giving up on her and my marriage over her past. Well, then you tell these so-called friends to kiss your ass. Let me guess, they're probably her friends or guys that you know that probably like her. Or do these friends all know the full story? This is why you got to control the narrative. I don't know how much they all know, but even her parents and sister have contacted me telling me to stop acting like an a-hole by seeking divorce, so I'm guessing she didn't elaborate on what is happening when she told people our relationship ended. This guy needs to control the narrative. Even though it's embarrassing, he just doesn't need this drama. Guys, this guy just found out that his wife did all that. And completely lied, betrayed, broken heart. Let's leave the broken hearted part of this whole thing, let's not forget that part. And then I'll give him a hard time. He needs to control the narrative and say, okay, friends and family, here are links to these websites, and after you peruse them, come back and tell me how I'm the supervillain for ending this marriage, all of which of these things I did not know about. And remember, he's not sending them spicy pictures. He's just, here's the link to these locations, here's her stage name, and knock yourself out, get some popcorn, and then come back and tell me how I'm such a villain for ending it with her. Anybody gives this guy a hard time about this, knowing full well what she did, have nothing to do with him. She has tried calling. I let her calls go to voicemail and leave her texts unread. I've been tested and I'm clean, thank God. Well, that's amazing. My lawyer has been in touch with her and told her all communication should go through her, but she keeps trying to get in touch with me regardless, including by recruiting mutuals, asking me to give her another chance. Yeah, it was a mistake. I'm so sorry. Yeah, sure. No, it's over. But I guarantee you she never thought this guy would ever leave her. I was just in the dark about all this and feel betrayed. I feel confused. On the one hand, I never want to see my wife again. On the other hand, I very much want my wife. And I'm feeling very confused about whether I'm reacting to this in the appropriate way. Smack! Snap out of it, dude. I'm going to knock some sense into you. Your first reaction was the correct one, and you're handling this the right way. Bro, hundreds of dudes, I'm sure that 200 is a small figure. G-bangs, amateur PORN, all these people can find her online. Your so-called bro is hooking up with her and didn't tell you. No, she did this without telling you. If she had any sense of decency, when you started dating, she would have told you, by the way, just so you know, and that way that guy would have the opportunity. I'm sure plenty of guys would not want to get in a relationship with her, or at least very long after they had their fun with her. but that's the cross she has to bear. But this guy has every right to handle it this way. It's done. And I like the fact that the lawyer is communicating with her, not him. Because otherwise, she can start the waterworks, as she has done already, and the I'm so sorry's and all that crap, and try to wear this guy down. You can't be with her. One, you can't be with her because of how she lied to you and all that type of thing, as well as plenty of other reasons. Now, this guy was a male stripper and did the same thing. Maybe that could have worked, but it's not. And he has every right to handle us the way he does. Now, a couple comments before I wrap this up. One guy says here, she took away your agency and ability to make an informed decision about your wife by hiding her past. She slept with one of your friends to keep the deceit going. Was she going to sleep with every person that found out about her past, block everyone, out investigate the possibility of an annulment, since this may be very well considered fraud if prostitution is illegal where you live? I hope he can get it annulled. That way he can make things a lot easier. But if he can't, if she has this high-level job in corporate finance, maybe she makes more money than him, and he may actually get something out of this. How about that? Another one. Don't think about taking her back, because to me, just the fact that she's denied it when you confirmed it is a massive red flag. And cut everyone out of your life who's calling you an a-hole and show them who she really is. Just tell them to Google the stage name she had. That's it. Google this name, and we'll talk later. And one more. If you'd ever known about her at the time, would you have married her? Especially the bit where she had SCX with another guy for money while already dating you. Would you have a continued relationship if you found out the day it happened? No, of course you wouldn't have. You would have ended it then. But she concealed facts about of a significant material nature, therefore depriving you of the ability to make an informed decision about her. Your marriage is founded on fundamental deception. Amen. This guy's handled the right way, and I wish him the best. But again, guys, you got to do your homework. It is the unfortunate reality. How things, my voice is getting really dry here. I need a drink of water. It is the unfortunate reality of the times. You got to do your homework. Otherwise, sadly, something like this could happen.